Incheon might be one of Korea's most underrated cities. You've probably feel like you've already been here because that's where your plane lands when you arrive in Korea, but nobody thinks to stay. And that's honestly wild when you think about it, because did you know that Incheon is bigger than Seoul, is one of South Korea's major future tech hubs, while still being home to some of South Korea's most important historical origins, including Korea's only official Chinatown, and also home to the first ever restaurant to serve Jjajangmyeon. That's why on this trip I decided to stay and explore Incheon for a few days instead of heading straight into Seoul to answer the question, is Incheon worth your time? I'm Steve from the Fat Life Project, ex-COO who quit my job to, amongst other things, explore the world. I'm so excited to show you everything I got up to, and so without further ado, let's get into it. Did you know that Incheon is also home to South Korea's only official Chinatown? It was established back in 1884, and this historic neighborhood plays a pivotal role in the country's trade and cultural exchange with China. You can see the influence clear and brightly here from the Chinese-style architecture, bustling restaurants, fascinating museums, and plenty of street food. And I don't know about you guys, but I find it kind of surreal that I'm in Korea and yet here I am in a Chinatown where all the signs are actually a mixture of Korean and Chinese characters. And yes, you'll find plenty of food here, but there is one key reason why everybody comes here, and that is to try out Jjajangmyeon. In fact, so much so that Incheon Chinatown is widely considered as the birthplace for Jjajangmyeon noodles. You'll find quite a few different restaurants in this area that offers Jjajangmyeon, but we have to go to Gwanghwachun, a Korean restaurant that holds a special place in Korean food history as being one of the very first restaurants to have ever served Jjajangmyeon way back in 1908. And the menu here is actually very Chinese influenced. There's sweet and sour pork, noodles, braised lobster with chili sauce. Jjajangmyeon? 네.
이렇게
네. 이거
하나요?
네, 하나요.
네.
예. 콜라 있어요.
네.
네. 감사합니다.
비싸잖아.
네, 감사합니다. 네, 감사합니다. And guys, this serving is huge. Let's just say that I'm glad I skipped breakfast. Anyway, smells amazing. Let's give it a go. It is so freaking good. The noodles are cooked just right, slightly chewy. The sauce gives it this juicy texture, and there's also quite a decent amount of aromatics and meat in it as well. And I'm not sure what they put in the sauce, but it is just so highly addictive and gives the noodles this really juicy texture. I personally think that this dish alone was worth the trek to Incheon. I really shouldn't have worn white today. Fingers crossed I don't get anything on this. Another spot that you have to visit in Incheon Chinatown, especially after you've had the Jjajangmyeon, is the Jjajangmyeon MUSEUM. It basically tells the origin stories of how one of Korea's most beloved food came into fruition through a collection of photographs, artifacts, recreated dining rooms, and interactive exhibits. It's also good to do this now, not only because I've had all that food and need to walk it off, but also because it's free on a weekday and there's air conditioning in here. The weather's getting kind of hot outside. You guys, look at all these Jjajangmyeon variations. And it's not just this one, so I have these ones and these ones. I particularly like this one. So funny. One thing that I forgot to mention as well is that every single corner and every single street that you're going to see here in Incheon Chinatown is full of little snack food stalls selling everything from tanghulu to cane sugar juice, little pastries, and much, much more. So if you get a chance, definitely give some of these a go as well. Located right outside or right next to Incheon Chinatown is the Songwoo-dong Ferry Village. It is perhaps one of the most colorful and whimsical neighborhoods in South Korea. Once a declining residential area, this village was transformed into a vibrant attraction filled with brightly painted houses, fairy tale-themed murals, sculptures, and interactive art installations inspired by famous stories from around the world. You may even recognize some of them from familiar characters such as Snow White, the Wizard of Oz, and Peter Pan. One thing that you're going to want to know if you're coming to the Songwoo-dong Fairy Tale Village is that there is quite a steep road leading up to it. I mean, I personally don't mind as I had quite the big meal prior to this, but it just may be something that you want to be aware of. I just realized as I was walking down that it's almost 1 o'clock and I haven't had my coffee yet for today. So let's change that by heading to this cafe here that has 2 cute giraffe statues in the front. 아이스 아메리카노.
아이스 아메리카노요? 1,900원입니다.
얼마요? Having a nice coffee, of course, because of just how hot it is. I am here at the Walmido Island, one of Incheon's most popular waterfront destinations, known for plenty of seaside boardwalks, amusement rides, fresh seafood, and lively atmosphere, giving you that nostalgic seaside charm. And as fun as all of this actually is, these are also moments that remind me of how old I actually am, because I'll look at all these rides and go, yeah, no thanks. And guys, this place is surprisingly busy for a Wednesday afternoon. I think maybe all these people are on holidays. I don't know. But I have to say, it is good to see it quite so lively. And guys, I even found a store that does the dalgona candy from the Squid Game. Look, this place is so cute. It's like Korea's version of Coney Island. Whilst it's quite busy around here, it is definitely still giving that coastal seaside vibes, which I am absolutely here for. Another good thing about being in this area is that it's quite windy, which instantly cools down the temperature. The relief because it has been fairly hot all of today. Also decided to do the Walmi Sea Train while I'm here. The ticket was, I think, 14,000 Korean won. Not bad. And you get a look tour guide over there whilst the train goes across, giving you spectacular views of Walmido Island. Very pretty. This looks amazing. However, if you're a foodie, you do not want to miss this next spot. I am here now right in front of the Sinpo International Market. This historic market has been around since the late 19th century and thus has been serving the locals for generations. And so, of course, you're going to find plenty of food options here, though this market is particularly famous for one thing. It's called Jjajangmyeon, crispy Korean fried chicken, coated in a sweet, sticky, and slightly spicy sauce. Needless to say, I am determined to try some of that. So come with me. Let's go in and check it out. Maybe it's just me, but this whole place is giving me Osaka Dotonbori vibes. This market is actually much bigger than I thought it was going to be. It does not just sell food, it also sells things like clothing, shoes, spices, fruits, and many more. Look, I finally found what I'm here for. This store called Sinpo Jjajangmyeon. And I know for a fact that this is not a tourist attraction, by the way, because nothing on the menu is in English and everybody in here is Korean. This place is absolutely packed, which is especially surprising for a Wednesday afternoon. I also do not think it's going to be very solo friendly because the smallest serving you can get is this, and I don't know about you, but that looks like a lot of chicken to me. But this is a must-try dish while you're in Incheon, so let's give this a go. I am scared, but it does smell amazing though, so let's give this a go. It's quite hot though. This is so good. The sauce is sweet with a slight kick of spice in it. Despite being drenched in it, the chicken still retains quite a crispy texture. You guys, this is amazing. All of that chicken, by the way, only cost me 19,000 Korean won, which works out, I think, to be about 20-something Aussie dollars. Amazing. But I will also say that the chicken spice does kick in after you've had a few bites. Just something you want to be aware of if you're not particularly a huge spice fan. And I think I arrived at just the right time as well, because look at the queue now. There is literally so much good food here that I don't think one visit is enough. In fact, I think I might come back tomorrow morning. I'm now in the Songdo Central Business District area, heading over to the Central Park. And this area is kind of like the technological hub for Incheon. In fact, it's giving me Shenzhen City vibes. While you're here, there are a couple of spots you need to check out. Let me show you around. One of the first things you can do, of course, is to catch one of these rather interestingly shaped boats across the river. I'll be honest with you guys that when I first saw these moon-shaped boats, I was thinking, wow, what a tourist trap. I am never gonna do it. But now that I'm here, this is actually quite relaxing and kind of a perfect way to see the city go from daytime into nighttime. Not to mention after walking around for the entire day, this is actually a rather welcome change. I do not have an active driving license, so this is actually the most driving I've done in a gazillion years. Hopefully no accidents are gonna happen. Fingers crossed. Honestly, you guys, this is so peaceful. Incheon is definitely a much more relaxed and laid-back city in comparison to Seoul. I'm so glad, in fact, that I've done this before my trip into Seoul, which I know is going to be a lot more hectic than this. Believe it or not, a lot of my trips don't feel like holidays because I'm actually doing a lot of filming like I am right now. But being in a city that is this relaxing definitely makes me feel like I'm actually having a holiday. Just look at that sunset. How stunning is that? And then literally located in the middle of the park is this Hanok village. Another building here that's worth coming to see is the G Tower. Not so much for the building, but because the building has an observatory at the top. Observatory is absolutely free to enter and explore. And apart from panoramic views of Incheon City, you also get quite a solid introduction to the Incheon Free Economic Zone. I mentioned before that the Songdo Central Business District does look quite futuristic. And this building right in front of me called the Tribal is a perfect example of that. It opened in 2010 as a memorial hall for the Global Fair and Festival and offers visitors a new experience with future-oriented designs. Today, it is a cultural space for everyone, but even if you're not here for a festival or an event, the building itself is just absolutely stunning to look at. I mean, come on, just look at this. And if you've been following my itinerary, this is now going to take you to roughly sunset dinner time, and I would recommend staying right here at the Songdo Central Park to watch sunset. In fact, a lot of locals have the same idea as they're all camping out here along the river. 7-Eleven. There's also a bakery at the top. We're gonna do some ramen for dinner tonight as well. This one. You guys, I did an extensive search for speakeasies in Incheon and I found none. However, there are a few really cool bars in the city, and tonight we're gonna go check out one that I think you are gonna like. So first of all, just look at the decor of this cocktail bar. It looks freaking amazing. Cass and Cuvée is known for its extensive collection of whiskey, and so unsurprisingly, their cocktail menu also heavily features whiskey. I got myself a South Side, which is a whiskey-based cocktail with mint in it. It's actually quite sweet and refreshing. That was such a good bar. I'm so glad I actually came out. To be quite honest, I was exhausted after meandering about everywhere today. But the bar that we just went to was about a 600-meter walk from my hotel. And so I decided to do it, and look, I'm so glad I did. The cocktails were delicious and that bar was absolutely stunning. While it isn't a speakeasy, I do definitely recommend checking it out. It is getting close to midnight though, so I'm gonna call it here. I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Bye. Good morning and welcome to day 2 of my adventures here in Incheon. I'm up bright and early today to take about a 1-hour journey to head to an island here in Incheon that has been on my bucket list for the longest time after I saw it all over social media. And personally, I think if you weren't convinced that you needed to add Incheon to your itinerary after day 1, you're definitely going to want to after you see what I get up to today. 안녕. 별은 혼자. Look, you guys! I have seen this all over social media. This ride cost me 25,000 Korean won, and it costs so much because it's supposed to be a 2-people package. But one of the struggles of being a solo traveler is you have to do everything by yourself. He did specifically warn me that this ride was going to be a lot harder if I'm riding by myself, but I mean, there's no other choice. Plus, I actually forgot to exercise this morning, so I guess this is going to be my exercise for today. Thankfully, the weather is quite cool today, which makes this the perfect time to do this activity. I think if I did this yesterday, it would have been really hot. And the view is amazing, guys. Let me just pan this camera around so you get to see it. That was actually such a great way to start the day, and also good to do it now before it gets any hotter than it is now. I will say that one thing that has surprised me about Incheon so far is that it actually is a lot bigger than I thought it was. Like, I honestly initially thought it was just the place where the airport was and everybody would just head into Seoul after, but Incheon is huge. Like, it took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get from Songdo, where I'm staying, to where we are now, which is the Yeongjongdo Island, which is, by the way, directly across from the the Walmido Island, aka South Korea's answer to Coney Island, that we were at yesterday. Speaking of things that have been on my bucket list for forever, I am now at the next thing on my bucket list. This is the Inspire Entertainment Resort that's also located on the Yeongjong Island, but it will take you about an hour on the bus to get from the rail bike to here. What is the Inspire Entertainment Resort, I hear you say? It really is one of South Korea's most ambitious entertainment resorts, comprising of luxury hotels, restaurants, shopping, and entertainment into one enormous complex. There are actually a few restaurants here, but I've decided to try out this food court, and guys, just look at the decor of this food court. Got myself some shrimp fried rice. Funnily enough, from a Thai restaurant of all places in Korea, but it tastes pretty good. With that meal out of the way, let's go exploring. There are actually plenty of things to do here. I have to say though that I do appreciate that today's itinerary is mostly indoors. I came here because I saw this one place within the Inspire Entertainment Resort, and we're here. This is the Ice Planet exhibition located inside the space at Inspire Entertainment Resort that feels like you've stepped into a frozen sci-fi world, comprising glowing glaciers, icy caves, alien landscapes, and immersive media art come together in one surreal space. Think Teamlab in Japan, but with a cute mascot named Yeti who will appear throughout the journey as you explore multiple immersive spaces with killer visuals, dramatic lighting, sound, projections, and futuristic set pieces. I knew I wanted to do this from the first time I saw it on the socials, and man, it was worth trekking out here for. If you, however, do not want to pay to enter, you should in the very least check out Aurora, a 150-meter ceiling-to-ceiling LED display that runs every 30 minutes or so, and in my opinion, definitely does not skip on the wow factor. I mean, come on, just look at this. And that officially wraps my 2 days here in Incheon. I personally think that the decision to stay here in Incheon instead of heading straight to Seoul for 2 days was quite possibly one of the best decisions I've ever made. The city has a much more relaxed vibe than Seoul, and I for one appreciate it because a lot of times when I'm traveling, I'm actually doing content, which nowadays I guess is work. But there is a certain laid-backness to Incheon that really did make me feel like I was on holiday. It is my sincerest hope that this video has made you want to add Incheon as a pit stop on your way to Seoul during your next trip to South Korea. And if it has, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all the good things that you know are going to appease those holy YouTube algorithm gods, but way more importantly, it's just going to make my day as a content creator. If you're heading to South Korea for the first time, you're going to find my Korea travel checklist video helpful. I'm going to link that at the end of this video so that you can go ahead and watch that next. And if you got to this point of the video, I want to thank you so much for watching. It really does mean everything. I do hope that you have a fantastic day ahead, or that you've already had a good day. I'm going to see you real soon in the next video. Ciao!